leadership is a very important issue today in organizations. The performance of the organization critically depends on the leaders. So therefore, there's a lot of thought, leadership theories, new variables to explain what brings good leadership. So any new understanding and new variables and dimensions about leadership is most welcome today. Today, for example, we are told leaders should be very good in communicating. Leaders must be able to establish good goals, stretch targets, communicate, motivate subordinates, and all that kind. There are many different aspects of this. What we will do is we will look at Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita has some interesting ideas on leadership. It is not surprising. After all, it is a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, and Arjuna, being a king, is like a CEO. Therefore, it is not surprising that we find some ideas on leadership. We look at one aspect which has been emphasized several times in Bhagavad Gita. This is called equanimity or mental equipoise. The Sanskrit word for that is titiksha or samatva bhava. Now, this is one idea which Sri Krishna has greatly emphasized. He has talked about this in chapter 2, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 12, chapter 13, chapter 14, several times, maybe 30, 40 times. So this is a very important issue. Therefore, I am also very keen to share this thought process and these ideas. We look at the first instance where this is being introduced, which happens in chapter 2. The shloka goes like this. Matras sparshas tu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payino anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. So this is the shloka. So the first line, he talks about matras sparshastu, the touch, sparsh, touch of the matras. Tanmatra is a technical word. It is the capability that we have which enables us to feel, to sense, to hear. The sensory organs require some capability that's called tanmatras. So Krishna says, as long as the tanmatras are active, it will start collecting signals from the outside world which we will process, and what will it lead to? It will lead to sitoshna and sukha dukkha. It will blow hot and cold. Sometimes the situation is good, sometimes the situation is not good. So that's what he says. And the second line he says, agama payinaha. They are all, coming and going. They are all, happens quite often in one's life. And anityaha, they are not permanent. They are transient in nature. Therefore, tam titikshasva, develop titiksha. So this titiksha, going by this shloka, is the ability of an individual to face, to tolerate, to absorb, and to endure the world of dualities which may unfold all the time. So this is what this shloka is actually trying to suggest. Now, the ideas here are in stark contrast with what we are going through today. Take a school education, take the case of parents talking to their children, take organizations. Everywhere we are told only we should aspire for good things. I don't have a problem with that, that's fine. But then we are also other things. We are told we should, only good things will happen. We should put the best efforts. And because we put the best efforts, more or less we'll thumb the desk and say we must get good results. And this whole system is such that we are coached into a certain mental frame in which we are only expecting good things. Of course, we will put good efforts and we are expecting only good results to come. A very mature person, a person with wisdom, understands even after putting the best foot forward, there are occasions in life when things don't go well. But unfortunately, with this kind of a psychological build-up that we are going through, our tolerance to face these adversities, however rare they are, is almost not there. Many of us seem to collapse. So this shloka is saying, look at this issue. Reflect on this issue and develop this capability. There lies the ability to develop leadership. So the capacity of leadership is a function of titiksha. Let's look at another shloka, which is again in chapter 2. In fact, that is the reason Krishna says, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Your ability to have that kind of ability to endure the pluses and minuses of life, he says that is called yoga. Let's look at another shloka in chapter 2. It goes like this. Sukha dukke same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. So in the first line, he introduces three pairs of opposites. Sukha and dukkha. Happiness and sadness. Situation is good, situation is bad. Labha and alabha. Gain and loss. Jaya and ajaya. Win and loss. So he introduces three pairs of opposites. He also puts a pair of words in between. Same kritva. Treat them equally. That is there. The second line he says, Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. See, this is a conversation with Arjuna. The context is war. So he is saying, hey Arjuna, go and fight the war. How? With this framework. Go and fight the war. So now there is a nice management framework here. The war is the activity. Go and fight. The war is the activity. An activity must lead to an outcome. So a war leads to an outcome of jaya or ajaya. Win or lose. Now in a management parlance, outcome by itself do not make any sense to us. We have what is called performance metrics, yardsticks. We measure the outcome through the performance measurement system, and that's called assessment. So the jaya and ajaya is assessed. You get another pair of opposites, which is labha and alabha, gain and loss. Now after assessment comes the feeling. Oh, I have lost it. Oh, I have made it. So that sukha and the dukkha. So Krishna says every activity that we engage in this world will always give us an outcome which belongs to the domain of duality. Outcomes will be measured with a performance metric system that will also throw results which are in the domain of duality, and the outcomes and assessments will lead to feelings that will also belong to the domain of duality. So same kritva, take all of them with a sense of equanimity. Then he says naivam papam avapsyasi, you will not be affected. Here lies this great idea of leadership. I think great leaders are those who are able to handle both, who are able to handle adversaries as much as they can handle successes that happens under their leadership, in the organizations. Now look at this. Human beings are warm-blooded. What does that mean? That means we have what is called physical homeostasis. Again, what does it mean? It means if the outside temperature, let's say, goes up, the body adjusts. The blood temperature, everything adjusts. This is called physical homeostasis. God has wired this capability in us. It happens naturally. Sri Krishna is saying a great leader must develop titiksha. And what is that titiksha? That gives psychological homeostasis. It makes you adjust to situations depending upon whether it is adversarial, whether it is conducive. So that is called psychological homeostasis. So titiksha is a mechanism of developing psychological homeostasis. Let us look at it in another way. See, there is a critical difference between a thermometer and a thermostat. A thermometer can merely show temperature, that's all. On the other hand, a thermostat, if you set a temperature, it will adjust the conditions to meet that target condition. So in the same way, I think titiksha will make us behave as though it is like a thermostat as opposed to like a thermometer. That's another way to understand. So these are very interesting ideas. I think these are additional dimensions to leadership. Sri Krishna says your leadership capacity will increase only when we are able to develop this mental equipoise to evolving situations. I think it is very important that we reflect on it. It's also important that we tell our youngsters, we tell our school going kids, we tell our children that put the best foot forward. It's very important, but also develop this titiksha slowly and slowly. At the end of the day, I think we must tell them life is a roller coaster ride, and that's an enjoyable ride that we must have.